This demonstration, I'm going to show you the AHF utilities to collect a status and configuration information on your grid cluster installation. Now, AHF is the Oracle Autonomous Health Framework, which includes TFA-CTL, which is the trace file analyzer, and OraCheck. OraCheck I have demonstrated earlier in a blog post. All of them are combined into AHF. If you install grid clusterware, it gets installed automatically with grid clusterware. Every time you update your clusterware from 19.23 to 19.24 to 19.25, AHF will also get updated automatically. So the AHF updates are bundled into your grid clusterware release updates. There are three main features, but if you look at the documentation, you will see more details. There's a compliance report, diagnosis collection for Oracle support, and the insights, which I will cover in this demonstration. So if you look at this support document 255079801, it shows you the compliance report, shows you how you can collect diagnostics using TFA-CTL, and the insights report. So I go to the server. I can run it from any node of my cluster. I don't have to log into both nodes. I run it from either node. So this is where it is installed. I can check my HF version. And the TFA-CTL version as well. Okay. So if you look at the document, you can see the access to the online documentation, the user's guide. So this is what I'm showing you here. This is the user's guide for the insights section of AHF-CTL. So you create an insights report. By default, it creates a report for 2 hours, but you can specify a longer duration. So it shows information about the last 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever you want to collect on the status of the cluster. So this is what I'm going to run. I'm going to run this command. So if there's some information which is not collected, is the first time you're running it, will give you a message saying it's collecting some compliance information because it has never been collected before. But this is the second or third time I'm running this. I won't give that message, but it is collecting data for AHF Insights. Now this will take some time to collect. So I'll show you a report that I had already generated earlier today. Now, mind you, this report is not for 2 hours because the server had not been running for a very long time, but the default duration would be 2 hours. So like here, for example, it says default duration is 2 hours for this report, 104 to 304 UTC. But when you look at the charts in this report, you'll not see 2 hours information because I had not had the cluster running for so long. Now the first section of this report is the default root of the report is the home root. So you can look at the cluster information, you can look at ASM details, cluster resources, cluster summary. So the cluster is a RAC cluster of 2 nodes. These are the GI version where the CR is running from, whether there is a database and where it is running from. I can look at what database is running. So there's one database called RACDB. I can look at more details from here. So I can see that there are 2 instances and there are 2 pluggable databases also inside this database, inside the CDB. Let me just go back to the home here. What are my database servers? So there are 2 servers, what configuration they have. I can look at, say, operating system issues. First I start with the server configuration, CPU, memory, IO, networks. I can look at metrics. This is very useful. Now the chart is not for 2 hours, although it's supposed to be for 2 hours because I had not had the servers running for more than 10 minutes or so. But you can see there are charts which shows you what was the load during that duration. And I can look at some report which gives me information on IO. For example, here IO in that short duration of 10 minutes or so, on both servers you can see. I could go back and look at, say, what are the other issues have come up, IP address error timelines. So I've got a number of errors which have come up on server 2 here, for example. Server 1 has these sort of errors and snapshots collected. You can see all this information here. So you can basically, you can even provide this information to your OS administrators and your network administrators as well. So that's metrics chart, reports, configuration. I can look at system changes. Now this is very useful because this will tell me 31st October. Remember, there is always a default 19.3 which I'm not using anymore, but it will show me my initial default is 19.3. But what I had done on 31st October is I had installed patches. I had done the 19.24 release update for database, and these 4 are part of the clusterware release update. So 31st October is when I did the patching, and that comes up. Although this report was run on 23rd November, it shows me the patches which were installed on 31st October. It shows me which home was patched here. Okay. And it shows me the ASM parameter got changed. Every time you update, restart, you might get changes to your ASM parameter, listener parameter, which is fine. It shows me a database parameter was also changed. Now this was because I was patching both the standby data guard instance and the primary cluster. So my log archive desk state was changed when I was doing the patching for both primary and standby. So this is very useful information, system changes report. And you can see it goes beyond 2 hours. It has gone back to 31st of October. I can see what patches I've installed recently. Okay, so there's no recent patches. What are the components in my installation? So these are all the components in my Oracle installation. This is very useful information here. And of course I could select for which home. For this is the database home. I could look at the grid home also. Then I could look at database parameters for my normal parameters which are modifiable by DBAs, and hidden parameters which should not be modified. So these are all the hidden parameters which start with an underscore. They should not be modified, but it gives me that information because they are all out of the box. Don't modify hidden parameters unless you get Oracle support sign off. I could look at, okay, just looked at patch information. I could look at say kernel parameters for the OS. Okay. I could even apply a filter if I were looking. So again, this is information you can give to OS administrator. Are there any anomalies? Yes, it has some findings. It shows me actually like I said, the database servers were not up for a very long time, so PDB is open, reconfiguration of the cluster. These are very small VMs, so it gives me information about memory. I can look at the two servers in my cluster also. This comes on. Okay, let me just close some of the tabs. Close this one and this one. So the database anomalies advisor shows me all this information. So all of these tabs are available when you generate your AHF analysis report. You go to the target folder, and like I said, since I did not specify duration, by default it collects for 2 hours, but my cluster was not running for more than 10 minutes, so I don't have that much information in my charts. But my patch information shows me patches applied on 31st October. And the system changes. And so these are all the log files. These are all TFAs which AHF analysis will also create anyway, TFA reports. But what you are interested in is in the server insights. So that is what I have, the server insights report here. And if you drill down into that folder, you'll go to web and the index, and that is the file that I have open here, the AHF Insights file. So this is a very useful feature, not just for the DBA. It provides information to your OS administrator. It provides information to even about your storage performance. For example, I could see some here IO performance for that short duration, and you only need root. So actually you can even have the system administrator run AHF, that is part of AHF-CTL, the whole AHF implementation, and generate the report, and he can view the report. Okay, so AHF, for example, we can see it got installed here, and you can see which version installed. If I were to update to 19.25 GIRU, I'll get a newer version of AHF. And you can see this is the Oracle support document which covers it, 255079821, and it gives me information about what are the health checks it runs. I didn't do a health check for compliance here in this demonstration, but I did an insights generation, and I could look at the additional documentation. So there is more drill down you can do. You can actually drill down to more information here if you use the AHF, and you can see every release has probably some new features. Okay, so right now I am running 24.5. So starting 24.4, there are new features also that got captured. Okay, so it's a good idea to keep updating your AHF. If you don't need to update it manually, but whenever you do a GIRU update, your AHF will also get updated. And the report format is quite clean. You start with the home, and then you can drill down to the individual components. And like I showed you, it's run as root, so even your system administrator can run it. He doesn't need to be a DBA. He doesn't need to explicitly connect to any database. He can give you this portion of the report as a DBA. He can look at this kernel parameters portion as a system administrator. He and the storage administrator can look at this portion, operating system issues, metrics, and network issues, IO issues. So it's a very useful report for everybody all around. AHF is downloadable from Oracle support website. You go to this document, and 2250791, you will know where to download it from and how to run it. So it gives you it generates a whole document. I mean, it gives you access to the documentation. So it gives you exact check or a check, gives you TFA, and gives you this insights report. Thank you.